doing good, thank you.
What brings you in today?
I have got a 14-year-old daughter, and she's 14, and I would consider a typical teenager, but we are just butting heads like crazy right now.
Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, like I said, she's 14, hormones. She's the youngest. I've got an older child, a boy, but for some reason she and I, and have just everything lately. We've just been literally butting heads. No, we can't seem to get along at all.
How is this affecting your feelings?
Whenever she's around, I'm very anxious, because I only have her part of the time. Her dad and I are divorced, and so she's with me the majority of the time, but there are other times that she's with her dad, and there are times where I look very much forward to when she's going to be gone, with her father. When she comes home from school, I start getting anxious, and because I almost know that we are going to have some type of interaction that's not good at all.
So it sounds like you're dealing with a lot with maybe the divorce, and maybe she's dealing with a lot with the divorce too. So what are some things that you've been working on to help cope with these type of arguments?
I really haven't. Typically when we argue, which seems to be a lot lately, we just usually end up, or at least I do, end up walking in a different room and just saying enough. Can't do this any longer. So,
what does she do?
She usually ends up crying.
Okay.
She's very emotional in the sense of she's my child that really she wears her emotions on her sleeve, and she's a very sensitive child. So my two children are exact opposites. She's my sensitive one. So when I say something harsh, it affects her a lot more than it does my son.
Would you say when she gets emotional that takes a toll on you emotionally as well?
It definitely does.
Okay.
Definitely does. So yeah, but I don't enjoy it at all, and I feel like that's all we do lately,
Do you see any of these outside things like the divorce and maybe working? Do you think any of those things contribute to maybe a little bit of you guys butting heads?
No doubt about it.
Okay.
When the stress is high, so right now I've got the two children. My oldest is driving, which is a huge help, because he can get himself to and from places, which I really need. So that's helpful, but I'm in school full time right now. Her schedule's full time, so once she gets home, I'm usually driving to and from everything, and then I've got two part-time jobs that I'm trying to work right now, selling my house. So we got a lot of stressful things going on right now, and it does seem that when the stress is high, I'm shorter with her than any other time.
I would say it's definitely understandable with everything that you have going on to maybe feel a little more stressed out than normal.
Yeah.
I don't see that being something that is abnormal.
Got a lot of stress going on right now, but the bad part is I don't see an end in sight, at least for a few months. So I can't continue arguing with her for a few months,
Have you thought of strategies maybe to help maybe alleviate some of the arguing?
Not really. I just know I don't want to argue anymore, but I don't know what to do to get to that point. So
what are some things that you and your daughter can agree on?
That's a really good question. What can we agree on? Lately it's felt like nothing,
Yeah.
But there are definitely some things like it usually involves me giving her control over things, such as when they were younger, I used to pack their lunchbox every day. Now you do it. You have freedom to do whatever. For many years, I've done this for you. You can do it now. Or when they were little, used to lay out their clothes. I don't do that any longer. Kind of thing. But so we agree on things that she pretty much has control, daily stuff, like what to wear, what to eat, what to, things, what her schedule's going to be. I try to give them, now that she just turned 14, I try to give them a little bit more freedom as far as her schedule's busy. When you come home, you got to do your homework. We got to run to dance class, and then when you get home, bedtime is whenever you can get in bed. It's not the rigid 9:30, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's trying to give them a little bit more freedom. So we seem to agree on things like that, But when it comes to, I guess, really when it comes to her father, we seem to disagree. I think that's where a lot of our arguments are stemming from, actually.
Can you expand upon that a little bit?
Yeah. It seems like our divorce is very high conflict, and it seems like when she mentions her dad, or this is not the way dad does it, that's when it seems to start.
Do you think that maybe her mentioning him in arguments is maybe a trigger for you as well?
It possibly could be.
Okay.
Yeah. It possibly could be. Yeah.
Sometimes when things are so stressful and you have so much going on, sometimes little things like that can be a trigger and can cause things to get a little more escalated than they would regularly.
Yeah. I think that actually could be, that's probably a big point of our contention, no doubt, there. So.
Do you see any possibility of resolution with your ex-husband?
Probably not. At the point we are at right now, the divorce is still pretty new in the sense that we've only been divorced. He's been gone a little over 2 years, but we can't seem to find an agreement on the color of the sky. It seems like, So, and even when he was living with us, our parenting styles were vastly different. And now that she's 14, I think she has come to an understanding that she has a little bit more power than some children have, in the sense that she has got one house with one set of rules over here, and one house with one set of rules over here, and she can almost get us to a point where we are pitted against one another, and she's just kind of, if I don't like what happens here, I'll go here, and and vice versa. And so I don't like that.
What are some of the things she says when these arguments happen?
That's a really good question. Majority of it stems from her not being able to spend as much time with her father, because she is with me the majority of the time. But for instance, we had an argument not too long ago. She had spent it was actually 13 days with her dad during Christmas break, and her birthday is right after Christmas in the beginning of January, and she had literally just come home from school, hadn't seen her in 13 days, and immediately she wanted to go and spend time with dad. So I was upset about the fact that she just spent 13 days with him, and then she's like, I never get to spend time with dad, and she just seen him. So
how did that make you feel when she said that?
It hurt my feelings, but then I found it almost a little dismissive as far as it, and I didn't understand it, because on one hand she says she never used to spend time with her dad, and then she just spent almost 2 weeks with him, didn't see me at all. So the disparity there was like, you say this, but you just did this, and that's what her father does a lot of the time. And I was like, she says one thing but doing another, and it actually reminded me of him. It was like, exactly, so.
Yeah, so she reminded you of a mini version of.
Very much so.
Okay, yeah.
Very much so. Where if I had closed my eyes and heard a male voice, I could pretty much hear those words coming out of his mouth. Yeah. Yep.
We're gonna call it good.